Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, I'll Read What She's Reading. I'm Reggie.
I'm Michaela.
And I'm Kennedy.
And today is our monthly book club book episode discussing Heartless Hunter by,
Kristen Ciccarelli?
Yes. Yeah. And I was like looking at her other book. She's written some other, like another series.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like looking at it the other day. Very excited to discuss this book. I feel like we might have some conflicting opinions on it, possibly. I don't know. But before we begin, I bet you guys can't guess what our book club book is going to be for July. Shall we say it on 3? 1, 2, 3. Reckless by our very, very favorite Lauren Roberts. We're very excited. If there's one book that we have been waiting to read this year, I was going to say maybe The Third Crescent City, Flame and Shadow. I think I'm more excited about Reckless. So
I was probably more excited for Crescent City just because I felt like I had such high expectations. And then,
yeah, that's probably fair.
I don't think Reckless will disappoint me in the way Crescent City did.
Saying that people have like already read it is pissing me off.
Yes.
They're like teasing us so bad.
Yes.
Make me angry, actually.
Yeah,
you
same.
are one of God's favorite if you found that just out in the wild. People found it in the wild.
It must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, stay tuned for that episode. But keep in mind, if you haven't read Powerless, read Powerless first if you're wanting to join us for our book club book. This is the only time we've ever picked a second book in a series for a book club book, but we did have Powerless as one of our book club picks from last year. So Reckless is the second book, and there is also a novella in between called Powerful. Don't get those two confused. I started the audiobook of it.
It's pretty good.
But enough about that. Let's talk about Heartless Hunter. We usually start with our ratings. I'm still trying to decide my rating. I think I know what it is. Yeah, okay. Does anyone want to go first?
I think I know what mine is.
Let's hear it.
Mine is 4.5. Am I supposed to elaborate?
Oh, I don't know.
If you want.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I felt like it was simple, but not too simple. I was very entertained, and I feel like I was never ever confused. And I feel like that's difficult to do when having like a magic element in it. So
especially like the first book.
Yeah. I don't know. I am curious with how things ended if the second book sounds good to me, because I think the reason I enjoyed the first book was so much is something that I feel like won't be happening for a while in the second book. So I'm curious to know.
All right. My rating, I'm going to say, is 4.5 as well. From like the first few chapters, I knew that this was going to be a really good book. And there was one instance in the middle where I was listening to it and I probably got a little too distracted while I was listening to it. And there were like 4 chapters where I couldn't remember anything I read and it was stressing me out. But I caught on and everything was fine. I almost wonder if maybe I had like physically read it. I always tell myself this. If I would have sat down and physically read it, I maybe would have rated it higher. I'm not quite sure, but I really liked it. It felt new to me. I feel like it kind of has different tropes too from what I've been reading in a sense. Like some of the sub-tropes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I always love a good dual point of view. The last like 10 chapters, I can't remember. I was like jumping up and down and screaming the entire time. So 4.5 for me.
Yeah.
I'm the odd man out. And before I say my rating, I have mentioned this. I think I'm in the worst reading slump of my entire life. Every book that I've been reading, I've just been like, eh. So I only rated this book 3 stars. And I think it's because I'm in such a bad slump. I never felt like I wanted to pick this book up. So I said this in my review, but I feel like this book for me was just very meh. It was weird because I love the premise, like Bridgerton in the Bridgerton era, but with witches. That sounds so cool. And it was really cool and super unique. I haven't read I don't think I've ever read a fantasy book that's just strictly witches, which I really enjoyed. For me, I wasn't super invested in the story until like 3/4 of the way into the book. And I think that's just because, one, I'm in a reading slump. Two, I haven't had a ton of time to just sit down and read. I've been extremely stressed with work. And so I don't feel like I've been in a mindset to just really immerse myself in a world. And for that reason, I just only gave it 3 stars. There's so many things I liked about the book, but I just kind of fell flat. And it's not one that I probably in like a month will look back and remember super vividly, if that makes sense.
Like you won't be thinking about it.
Yeah. But I'm like, that opinion is my opinion is not common. It's ranked very highly, and I can see why there's so many good things. I just think I read it at a really bad time. So
Yeah. Well, and 3 stars is still a very good rating.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's talk about what we loved about the book. I know we kind of just shared some, but like a little more in depth. Favorite parts of the book, things we loved. I actually have a question for you, Kennedy.
Okay.
In one of your updates, you said, I have a theory. And then you said in another update that you were right about your theory.
Can I guess?
I think, okay, let me ask this question. Did you guys know Verity was Cressida?
I knew she was a witch.
I think this is also another reason why I didn't rate it super highly, is because I knew that. So I'll give you guys my thought process on how, because usually I don't guess stuff. I'm a very vibes person. I don't try to figure stuff out. But I remember there were multiple times when Rune would talk about the way Verity smelled. And then once it came into play that witches have a scent, I was like, oh, Verity's a witch. Then from the time at the celebration, we found out Cressida was back.
Oh.
I was like, oh, Verity is Cressida, without a doubt.
Oh, I knew that at that point.
So to me, it was kind of like this bomb was dropped that Verity was Cressida, and I was just kind of like, oh, well, I've known this for half the book.
I feel like that wasn't half of the book, though.
Kinda.
It was like page 258.
Like it just didn't feel like this big
thing.
Yeah, and it just didn't feel surprising to me. I don't know. It just, once again, everything just kind of felt And you guys know how much I cry in books. Like I did not cry when Alex died.
See, I cried, and I even knew that he was going to die from the very beginning.
I don't know what it was. I just genuinely think that and we'll go back to talking about our favorite parts, because there was a lot of things I liked about this book. I just, for some reason or another, I just couldn't connect with Gideon or Rune. I just didn't, like, their relationship never really made sense to me. And I never really felt like, I don't know, they just didn't make sense to me. I was rooting for Alex the entire time.
Well, their relationship was never supposed to make sense.
Well, it just didn't even feel like, you know how in an enemies, I don't know, it just didn't feel like your typical enemies. I just couldn't connect with them as characters at all. Like I just didn't, I just was never invested. I never felt high stakes for me. It was just this weird feeling. And once again, I think it's just because I read it at a really, really bad time. I don't think I've rated a book highly since Morningstar. Like I've been in a horrible reading rut, and that's on me, not on the book. It just, I don't know.
Well, some books get you out of a rut and some books don't. And this book just wasn't.
No, it just didn't.
And
I was going to say, I knew she was a witch from almost like the very beginning. I just didn't know. It was Cressida until the banquet.
Which I don't think you could have known, because you didn't know Cressida was even alive at that point. But yeah, once that happened, I just knew. But
yeah, once I figured it out. So I figured it out a little bit before it was dropped. But then once I was like, yeah, duh. Why didn't I pick up on that sooner? But I will say, I don't know why I look into things. So when it comes to point of views, when I knew Alex's point of view wasn't in this book, I was like, this boy's going to die at the end of this book.
I didn't think he was going to die. I just thought his heart was going to get broken. But that broke my heart.
Yeah. There was just, especially when he was saying like, the only time I thought maybe he wasn't going to die was when he proposes to her kind of thing. And he's like, let's run away, whatever. And then I thought for like some reason this was just my wild theory coming out, that she was gonna like be pregnant with the brother's baby or something, and then she wasn't gonna bleed for 9 months.
Ooh, that would have been epic.
Because for a second she like kept saying like she hadn't like started bleeding yet, and I was like, she's pregnant. And then I was like, oh wait, no. Like that was 3 days ago. Like, let's hold our horses here. But for a second I was like, wait, what if this ends with her being pregnant with her fiance's brother's baby, and then she doesn't have blood for a while? Like, in my mind I was like, that could be cool. But then that didn't happen. But yeah, I knew he was gonna die. Like, I kept waiting. I'm like, his point of view's got to come in here, and it didn't. I was like, and I think maybe I mostly thought that too because a few people like had commented on our like post when we were doing this or something, saying like, oh, the ending of that book like wrecked me or something. So I was like, something sad's gonna happen, and that's when I was kind of, I don't know, but not to like get ahead of ourselves. But I think with that, I don't really know what's gonna happen in the second book. Like, I don't know. I guess the one thing is that I love this first book, but I don't really want her to be with Gideon in a way.
I don't want her to be
Like,
with Gideon.
I understood how they were kind of like using each other, and that was interesting, but like maybe to me, and I know like true enemies to lovers is always pretty fun when they're like true enemies. It just wasn't working for me. That's like the one thing with this book that I didn't love, is it just wasn't super working with me because he's literally killed all these people that are like her kind. I don't really know how to like explain it. It just, her chemistry with Alex, I just loved Alex so much that I'm like, how is Gideon going to make up for all the stuff that he has done and redeem himself, and how are they going to get together? Because that's where I see the series going, but I just don't understand how she's going to make up for that, because literally anytime Alex spoke to her, I like wanted to cry. Like when he finds her in the bathroom and he was just like, sweet little baby angel, like, your secret's safe with me, and like, let me take care of you.
I think obviously, this is not a revolutionary thing to say. Her and Gideon had a lot of sexual chemistry, but her and Alex had a lot of emotional chemistry. I agree with you in the aspect, their relationship didn't really work super well for me, but I think it's because I felt like it was just all sexual chemistry with them. There wasn't, it was weird because they would share emotional things, but it never hit the mark with me. I loved Alex. I was rooting for him the entire time. Bless his little heart. But yeah, I don't know what she's going to do with the next one. Obviously, I'm just trying to figure out how one of them's got to give. And I almost think it will be Rune. That almost goes over to Gideon's side.
I think the opposite.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
After everything Cressida did, human sacrifice and everything, you think she's going to...
I think there's not going to be a side.
Meaning?
Like, she's not going to... Well, they're not going to choose, like, the witches, and they're not going to choose, like, the...
Yeah, they'll like, make their own,
Yeah.
like... I agree with that, yeah. But back to our favorite moments. One of my favorite moments... Sorry, is that okay if we do that?
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments, I actually loved when he made her the dress.
See, that's where I feel like I disagree with your guys' like point with like the sexual relationships, because I think he just didn't know how to express it, and like making a dress, like how thoughtful. And I know like in the back of his head he was like, I'm just doing this to manipulate her, but like having his eternal dialogue, I know he felt the exact opposite and the same as her. I mean, it worked for me a ton. I loved like the dual point of views and them saying like, but I'm just using him. After they would like, she would feel something for him, you know, and he the same. And so I feel like her getting him a new coat, even though it was like, I think they were doing these things without realizing that like they actually cared for each other.
I can see that. I think I just liked Alex so much and stuff, and she probably did that on purpose to make the ending kind of destroy you a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, that it was like, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention to their relationship because I just wanted more.
I just knew it wasn't going to work out because she never ever, all their years of friendship never had that feeling of like, I like him more than just like a brother or like my best friend. That just always happens like in a book or movie where like the guy has all the feelings and it's been like 11 years. I was like, there's no way she's gonna be like, oh my gosh, you're right, I just love you. It's always gonna be the dark, mysterious guy.
We should have known once he was blonde that he was not going to be the love
But
interest.
don't get me wrong, I do love Alex. I just knew that it wasn't going to be him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't ever think she would be with him. I just wanted that so bad for myself.
Yeah.
For me. And I don't even think necessarily the intention of her book was to like, because I saw a review somewhere and someone said something about they didn't know it was a love triangle. I don't even think it was necessarily a love triangle. I just kind of like, did you guys feel like it was a love I didn't feel like it was a love triangle. I just think for me, I loved Alex and I wanted her to be with him, but you could tell from Rune's internal dialogue it was more out of convenience and safety than it was out of like love. Even she said multiple times there's a tiny little spark. It's not anything it's not wildfire like with Gideon.
Yeah.
The sexual attraction or just the attraction in general. Maybe not sexual attraction, but
I think it was more a love triangle with Gideon and Alex than like Rune.
Yeah.
Like thinking it was a love triangle. So like Gideon and Alex were in this like love triangle, but she was never a part of it.
Yeah, because Gideon knew Alex was in love with her.
Yeah. So it was like brothers.
mm-hmm.
But then it's not like she was choosing between the two. She just picked Alex out of
Comfort, safety. Yeah.
I also, like I said, I really liked that it was unique. I haven't read a lot of witchy books, which I really liked. I think for me, and I saw someone on Goodreads say this, and I agree with it. I almost would have liked this a lot more if it was marketed as new adult, because I think it could have been fun to tap into maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't want it to go too dark, but I almost feel like it would have been fun for it to be maybe a little bit more mature and lean into like the witchy aspects a little bit more. Almost, you know how Serpent in the Wings of Night feels a little bit more dark and brutal? I kind of would have loved for it to be a little bit more dark and brutal.
Yeah.
It would have felt maybe a little more high stakes for me. But I did love the witch aspect. That was fun.
My favorite part was when Alex found out that she was a witch.
Oh, yeah. That was precious.
That was really cute.
Because she was just so scared. And when she asks him, she's like, so when are they coming? Like, when are they coming to get me? And he's like, they're not coming. Like, you're safe with me. I was like, stop. I loved
that was
a
sweet.
lot.
I liked that.
I feel like I can't say mine.
Why?
Because I feel like I feel differently when it comes to Rune and Gideon.
No, but that's great. It's hard because we do agree a lot on a lot of books, but I think it's awesome to hear your perspective. I think it's cool. I love it.
My favorite part is when like Gideon said, I would like to come in, but I promised to go slow with you. And then he said, and if I step through that door, I'm afraid I won't keep my word.
That is very cute.
Yeah.
And the note. Yeah, that's very cute.
Yeah.
That was I like that. That's after they go skinny dipping, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I actually really enjoyed this book, like a ton. So I would say after like 30 pages, the first 30 pages, I loved like every other part of it.
Well, I'm jealous because I was so excited to read. Once again, I think if I would have read this 3 months ago or 3 months from now, I think I would have liked it so much more. I just genuinely think I'm not liking any book I'm reading. So honestly, it's crappy. I wish it would have been a 4.5, even 5 star, even whatever. It's not, I didn't hate this book. And Reggie also rated it 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
So
For me, the Gideon and Rune thing, it's more that it just like wasn't, I wasn't really rooting for them. I still loved everything else about the book, and I wanted to like root for them when they got together and all the little things. I wanted to be like, yes, but I was more like, I don't know how I feel about this, if that makes sense. So I still loved everything else about the book, but I just wish I could have rooted for them a little bit more. That's what makes me not as excited about the next book coming out, because I just and kind of feeling like, I think it could be done very well, for sure. I'm not saying it's not going to be great, but I'm not like dying to pick up the next book because I'm just kind of feeling like maybe I'm just feeling a little sad.
I don't know.
So-
I think the next one will be awesome. I can't wait to hear his internal dialogue because he loathes her. I just think it's going to be really cool to see him. I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like that will be so entertaining. And I do need to say, Michaela, after you've kind of said the dress thing and the coat thing, and I completely forgot about the let's take it slow thing. They definitely did have more of a connection than just a sexual connection. Now that you've pointed that out, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So I think it would be awesome to see him hate her and then her navigate being with Cressida and coming to terms with what she's done. Because I think we're going to see a lot of character development between both of those characters in the next book.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just the romance aspect. Not that it has to be like super romantic or anything, but like, I don't know. There's just something about it I'm unsure about. But,
Well, it's definitely going to be like more political
oh yeah.
than. That's what I was kind of like saying at the beginning, because I liked this book so much because of like the back and forth between Gideon and Rune, and like their little scenes together kept me turning the pages. I also was like absolutely dreading the moment that like she either told him or he found out. Like I was just like, when's he gonna find out? When's he gonna find out? I'm like dreading the moment. And then as soon as he did, that's when I did a Goodreads update, and I was like, I just chucked my book across the room because I didn't expect him to find out that way.
Yeah.
For some
Same.
reason. I just like, that was not, I was like, it took me by surprise. I don't know. Anyways.
the last 15, 20-ish chapters, I'm saying that's probably more than a fourth of the book. The last fourth of the book was so good. When he gives her the flowers, she goes back to return. I ate that up.
Mm-hmm.
But the other parts drug on for that's my own personal problem, okay? It's my own problem. I did really like the tunnel scene
Oh.
when he tricks her. That was fun too.
I think that was really fun.
So, I mean, once again, this book had so many great things that I really liked. For some reason, I'm just in a meh mood, okay? And that's, once again, my own fault.
Well, and even if it's not because you're in a reading slump and you maybe just genuinely didn't like love the book as much as you hoped you would, that's also okay.
But you know what, though? It had all the elements that I like. I love witches. I love enemies to lovers. I love unique magic systems. Something's wrong with me.
I think you set the bar for me really low.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm glad.
no, but then I think it made me like it more.
Good.
And I think maybe people set the bar very high for you.
Let's go with that. I like
Yeah.
that. I like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
And
theory.
it almost was just not what you were expecting.
Yeah, like 50 pages in, I was like, Kennedy's having a hard time getting into this book. I was kind of like this. I was surprised.
Okay, but to put this into perspective,
But-
you guys, over the last 4 days, this is not normal for me. I've maybe read 4 chapters of a book. I just haven't been reading.
Yeah.
Something's up.
You know, that's okay. That's really okay.
I can't wait to find out what book gets you out of your reading slump. I'm dying
It's
to
gonna
find
be
out.
just for the summer. I just keep putting it off. But okay, back to Heartless Hunter. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Do you guys have least favorite moments?
No, I was gonna go back to the tunnel.
Oh, the tunnel.
scene
Yes,
for
let's
like
go
2
back.
seconds. I was genuinely so concerned. I didn't know how she was gonna get out of that situation. And when she was being a little gossip, I was like, "You're so genius for coming up with that and just like saying that to like everyone." I didn't see that coming. I was like, "She's dead. She's caught." She's so smart.
I did love that
Sneaky
moment.
I
little
just
gal.
loved the tricks they like played on each other. I don't know. I just really genuinely so invested on how like everything was going to go down between them two. Maybe not necessarily like romantically, but just like
Oh yeah.
the stakes that they both have. Like obviously she knows who he is, but she doesn't know who she is. And so I was like, I just can't wait to see everything blow up. And
Yeah.
it blew up in a different way than I thought, to be honest. I thought how I really thought it was going to go down is that Verity was going to somehow like show off her magic, if that makes sense. And then I feel like she then Rune would have had to be like questioned if like she was like in really, because they're like best friends. Everyone knows that. So like That's how I thought it was gonna go down, but it makes me sad for this Verity girl. But just like
I know.
I know. That was. So wait, what was this? Okay, refresh my brain on the timeline of that. We don't really know, do we?
so Verity became like friends with her after the revolution. Like
Yeah.
so when they started doing like the witch like
Mm-hmm.
raids and stuff.
So I don't think Rune was never friends with the real Verity.
Yeah.
It was always Cressida.
Yeah. Which
I
I feel betrayed.
genuinely, I cannot wait for the second book in the sense of I think we're going to see Rune struggle a lot with that whole situation.
Yeah. I think she already legit has. At the
Oh,
end
yeah.
of the book, she's like, I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want to be used as a puppet by her. And so I think they're going to battle it out.
I think Rune's going to she's going to train with Seraphine, yeah?
Yeah.
And she's just going to become this bad A witch.
Is she gonna collect her blood the same? Is she gonna? You know what I mean?
I told Cole, my husband, about that. And he was like, what?
Okay, a lot of people struggled with that, but I didn't really think twice about it.
I mean, it's different, but I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
much-
not
yeah.
having to like cut herself.
Yeah.
It
I think
makes
she's
sense.
going to start using fresh blood on herself, obviously, now. She doesn't have to hide.
Yeah.
But
Does it say how much blood she needs? Does that fill?
Just
It
enough to
says
drop
depending on
the spell?
Yeah.
mhm.
It's depending on how much blood you need.
Wild.
Hmm.
Well, any other thoughts?
I will say a part that seemed a little unbelievable to me was when Alex got Gideon's coin.
Yeah.
Like, if he is a guard for a prison, you're not just going to.
Give up that.
Yeah.
Let me just gamble this away.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was curious how he was gonna get it, but I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that until you said that. And I'm like, wait, that. Because at first I was like, ooh, so sneaky. But yeah, why would he? Yeah.
I know some thought. I was like, if this is really such a key to get into the prison, like why would he? Yeah, I don't know. That I was like, don't like this. I wish he would have just stolen it.
Yeah.
Because it would have showed his dedication to Rune even more.
Yeah.
Just because she was convinced that he would choose Gideon over her, if that makes sense. I don't know. But I mean, he did have a lot of dedication towards her. But I think it would have furthered it if he would have just stole it.
Yeah, I agree.
Somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been another 50 pages in the book.
Hey, it was pretty short.
It was.
It was. I was genuinely surprised, and
When did I start this book? On Saturday?
I started it.
I can't remember.
Well, and honestly, this is genuinely, once again, another book that I would recommend to people if they're wanting to get into fantasy. It's simple. It's fast. It has
Easy concept to
Yeah.
grasp.
It kind of reminds me of One Dark Window a little bit, and a little bit of Powerless, a little bit. I don't know. There's just it also reminds me. I don't know it doesn't have any of the same stuff, but Caraval. I think it's just
magic?
maybe the magic and the trickiness
mm-hmm.
of it all, and maybe a little bit of the writing kind of reminded me of Caraval. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. And this is also my second. I've read an entire series about witches, and it was fun because the other witch series that I read, they didn't have to have blood. They
Was it
just
Serpent and Dove?
yeah,
Mm.
they just had magic, but this one they had to have blood. So it was
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, that is
Different
interesting.
kind of witches.
Huh.
So
Cool. Well, if that's all our thoughts, let's chat fancast for a sec. This is the first book in a while that we've done that I haven't seen a lot of stuff on TikTok about. I think it's maybe because it's newer, or maybe I just haven't been on TikTok very much. But yeah, I want to know kind of your guys' thoughts on fancasts.
You want to do Rune first?
Yes, the only one I don't have one for is Gideon. So I'm hoping one of you guys has a good one.
I don't have one for Verity.
The only one I have for is Verity because I can't think of realistic ones, actors that are the correct age,
It's okay, me either.
things like that. Let's start with Rune.
I don't know how I feel about mine.
Go for it.
I said Lily Rose Depp.
Oh, no, that would be good.
I think her features just like are very sharp, and she's very stunning in general. So I mean, Rune is supposed to be like a very stunning girl. She catches the eye of a lot of people. So I don't know. I think, and I don't know, she gives me almost like a witchy look at the same time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's offensive.
No,
but I think she could pull off that role good.
My pick is Hunter Schafer, who plays Jules on Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's like in real, so she's an actress and she's a model. She kind of has some strawberry blonde hair in a lot of her photos. She has very sharp features, like very beautiful, but like looks a little dangerous and tricky. So
that was she's also in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say what everybody said. I wouldn't say this is my fan cast because I'm horrible at fan casting. I've been seeing a lot of people say Sadie Sink. Just throwing that out there because that's what everybody's saying. Good. But I kind of like when it's, there's this pool of people that I think repeatedly get cast as book adaptations, and I think she's one of those people. Anytime red hair is mentioned, she's Sadie Sink. So I like that you guys chose people who you don't hear fan cast very often.
I also just think that Sadie Sink can do a lot.
Yeah.
She's got like a lot of potential to play a lot of different roles.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Should we do Gideon?
I don't have one.
I don't have one either.
Oh.
You're the lone wolf, Michaela.
I said Logan Lerman. He might be too old. He plays Percy Jackson, like the older.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How old is he?
I don't know. He might be 32. Maybe too old.
But we gotta also remember that they can make them look a little bit younger.
Yeah.
A lot of people who play high school kids aren't in high school.
Yeah.
I feel like he could work with the person I picked for Alex.
Oh.
Who'd you pick?
Tom Blythe.
Oh.
I feel like they look like they could kind of be brothers. That plays Cornelius Snow.
Oh.
But he normally has darker hair.
Oh.
I know that Alex is supposed to be blonde. Isn't he?
Yeah. I think so.
But so like we know that he can pull off blonde hair. I mean, I know when he's in A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, his hair's kind of more like a bleachy blonde.
How tall is Logan Lerman? Because Tom Blythe is tall. But I think Gideon's supposed to be
people stand on stools
big
when they act in movies.
I think Logan's probably like just hitting
6.
Is Tom Blythe way tall, really?
But you want to know what? It doesn't have to be realistic, okay? He can wear heels.
I know, they look like they could be brothers a little bit.
I could see that. I like those two together.
Height.
I would root harder for
Why
Alex
are all
for
of his
sure.
like model photos though? He like just looks so.
He can
wear
chunky
Yeah,
boots. He can wear boots. He can wear boots.
Chunky boots.
I don't know. I'm just thinking like this hair, a little bit. I don't know.
I actually really like that.
There's something about him that like he's really handsome, but he just looks very sweet. I don't know.
I am going to. Yes. I think also another person. I put this person as Alex, but I think I'm changing my mind. Tom Blythe as Alex, and then this person as Gideon. I know I'm just on a kick with him, okay? Callum Turner. They would be similar. They have similar-ish features.
Yeah.
I could see that more.
Callum Turner is.
Yeah.
I will be Team Gideon if it's
Callum
Turner.
His voice.
Yeah.
I could picture that as Gideon for sure.
There we have it, folks. Oh, but wait. I have one
Verity.
for Verity. I put Madison Bailey from Outer Banks.
This is my one thing that I had, and I don't know why I picture her as being Verity. Her name is Ambika Maud. She's the actress on One Day.
She's so cute. I could totally see her as being Verity.
I don't know why she gives off Verity vibes.
But you know what's also interesting about like Verity is like she's no longer going to be in this. Like her look is completely changed and it's not Verity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like after the first book, there's no longer going to be. I can't remember how they described the witch.
I don't know if they ever did.
I can't remember.
The one thing I will say, it took me about half the book to separate Verity Colleen Hoover, Verity in this book. For some reason, it was so hard
every
for
time
me.
it said that,
to just push that aside and be like, I don't automatically hate this person just because they share a name with another character I don't like.
Yeah. It was interesting the names, because the first like 2 chapters I was like, is Rune a girl or a boy?
Rune Dannon.
Yeah, because I just kept thinking Rune Dannon. And then Verity is just like also like a popular name for like another book. So the name choices were just very interesting to me.
Well, you got Rune, you got Verity, you got Gideon, and then Alex.
Alex.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. I wonder where she got, because I feel like Rune is like the most unique.
Well, I mean, Rune is like a rune, you know?
How do they not get that? It's like a witch's rune.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we had any other fancasts for people. I wrote down Cressida, but I didn't put one for her, so. I was just thinking of freaking Cressida from Bridgerton, so. Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We always love doing our book club episodes, so tune into our next book club episode, which will be at the beginning of August. Holy cow.
Oh my god.
Why did that just kind of like,
gosh.
oh, summer's ending. And yeah, remember, Powerless is the first book. We already did that as a book club book. If you missed it and you want to be part of this next book club, read Powerless first. Kennedy thinks that you need to read Powerful.
Okay, actually, I take it back. I take it back. Lauren Robertson interview has since said that one of the characters in Powerful, it's a new character that was not in Powerless. They will not appear in Reckless because when she was writing Reckless, she didn't know the character existed. I believe is what she said.
Gotcha.
So you should be okay.
Okay. So just kidding. But if you really liked Powerless, you want to read a little novella, Powerful. By the time this episode comes out, the book has already been released as of yesterday. So we'll be reading that immediately. And we can't wait to share our thoughts about it. It's going to be a very fun episode, we have a feeling. So tune into that next month. And we love you guys a lot. We'll see you next week. Bye.